your host, Aprille Franks-Hunt, and this is Real Life Matters. And we have with us today someone who is oh so fabulous. She is all about the champagne diet, and I know you want to hear more about that. Um, just a vast array of accolades and experience and real life stuff that we're going to get into with Miss Cara Alwill Leyba. Did I
Hi.
get that right?
Yep, you did. Perfect.
Awesome.
You're like the only one that's ever gotten that perfect.
Hey. So, Cara, there's so many different places we can start with your career and what you're doing currently, which is, helping women all around the globe, really, with helping them live, a fabulous and true, healthy, and all inspired life. But before we get to all of that, and before we get to, Clive Davis and MTV and all of those things, your first book, Sparkle, which just the reviews are so awesome. Can you just tell us a little bit about what Sparkle, why do women need Sparkle, and where that was inspired for you?
Sure. So I felt like I wanted to write a book that I would want to read. And I wanted to write something kind of self-help related, but I didn't want it to be a typical self-help book. Because I feel like all of those books focus on what's wrong with us, like why you need to be a bitch to get a man, why you need to be a skinny bitch. Everything's negative. And not that nothing wrong with those books, but everything's kind of all about, sort of coming from a place of like everything, what's wrong with you and how to fix it. So I wanted to write a book for women that taught them how to embrace what they love about themselves, what's already within them, and, just kind of teach them how to bring that out and celebrate it and be proud of it.
That's so awesome. And I was reading a little bit on you, and just with the weight situation, many of us battle with that, or we feel like it's a battle. And I
Mhm.
think what you're saying is once you start loving what's there, then it kind of gives you that inspiration or motivation to make changes in areas where maybe you actually do need to.
Right, definitely. And I think that's like the biggest problem with diet and the diet world is they don't deal with our emotions. It's all
Absolutely.
about focusing on the food and the calories and the fat and the protein and all the other crap that we're sort of fed by all of these like major diet companies, but no one
Yeah.
ever takes a step back and says, wait a second, why are you here in the first place? Like,
Right.
what's going on? Why are you eating like this? Why do you put crap in your body? Why do you not want to go to the gym? So I
Hmm.
think it's really all about getting in touch with who you are and like you're obviously, if as a woman, this, I know this, if you're not treating your body well and you're overeating, you're not eating healthy foods, there's something going on. Maybe you're a little depressed, maybe you're a little unmotivated. So, for me, it's really all about kind of getting women to get to that place first, and all the healthy eating stuff kind of comes second.
Absolutely. I love that. Like, hello, why am I eating a whole pack of Oreo cookies in one sitting? Like, what is that? Where does that come from?
Right. That's not what
Skip.
a healthy, happy person does.
Absolutely. Like, forget the calorie counting. Like, I'm not even there yet.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I think most people can relate to that. So I think it's awesome how you start really from the inside, and then, we can work on the outside.
Yeah. That's the
Um,
easy part. The
right,
food.
exactly right. Yeah, the soup. This right here is totally the easy part. It takes 10 minutes to get that together, but
Right.
the internal work is really more difficult. Do you find just with working with women, Cara, that women don't want to do the internal work, or do you find that we just are afraid? What do you find when you start talking about working on the inside and not just counting calories per se?
I think women are really excited about it, and it's like never occurred to them before. Like they're kind of like, oh my God, wait a second, I can pay attention to me and what's going on in my head because we're so worried about everybody else, our kids, our husbands, our girlfriends, our whoever. Like we just never really take a step back. So when I
Yeah.
work with women and it's all about them for that hour or whatever it is that we're chatting, they're just like, oh my God, a weight's been lifted off my shoulders. Like they're really excited about it.
I think that's I love it. That you are all in my lane and all in my Kool-Aid. So I think that is great, and I think women all over can absolutely relate to that. Um, Now that's the whole Sparkle deal. Now before Sparkle, can you share with us, some of your career with MTV and just some different things? Because I really want to talk to you about just passions and how do you know when to? Could you kind of call Sparkle and the Champagne Diet your passion projects? So can
Mhm.
you? but before you get to that, most of us do what most of us do. We make a living doing what we think we're supposed to, or maybe some hard skill that we're really good at. So we go to school for this, or we
Mhm.
learn a specific thing. So before you get to the passion stuff, what was it about, Clive Davis and J Records initially that you were attracted to? Like where did that come from for you?
Well, I always knew I wanted to work in the entertainment industry. Like that was my dream. I started a zine. I don't know if you know what a zine is, but it's like a little music magazine. There used to be like homemade things. We'd like Xerox copy them and like give them out at concerts. And me and one of my really dear friends started the zine when I was 17 years old. And I knew I wanted to work in music. And I called up like every single I turned my CDs over and I called every single record label and I was like, hi, I'm looking for an internship. And I'm like still in high school. And this place called TVC Records finally said yes. So I started interning in high school. I didn't get paid. I didn't get anything, but I just wanted to be around that. I knew that's what my passion was. Then I went on to, calling up like public relations firms and the PR departments of these labels, and I started interviewing bands for the zine and kind of grew from there. And I just knew I wanted to be in entertainment and music. So I got an internship actually at J Records when it first launched, when Alicia Keys first came out, and it was kind of, this brand new label that Clive Davis had started. And I used to work, I did the internship, and then they called me to be a receptionist. They were like, we have a job open, do you want it? I'm like, of course, even though I didn't want to be a full-time receptionist forever. But I took the job, and I would sit at the front desk from 9 to 5:30, and I would still intern, like kind of intern. I would do all the web updates and all the newsletters because I just loved it so much. I'd be answering phones, writing articles for the site. And then from 5:30 to like about 9 o'clock at night, I'd go in the back and train under Clive Davis's first assistant. And she was like his main, girl. She did everything for him. And I was training to be her backup and her assistant. So when she would go out of town or she'd be sick for a day, I would step in and fill in and be his executive assistant, which was one of the most amazing experiences I ever had. Like, he's tough, but he's just, how could you not learn from somebody who's just so amazing and iconic, good at what they do?
That is that is so awesome.
Industry experience, yeah.
I think, what I'm hearing, and I hope that all of our viewers that are watching take from that you have to be tenacious and you have to just kind of step out there if you want something to happen. And whether you're getting paid or not, sometimes you need to be in that space.
Yeah. And you can't be afraid of no. I think that's a big thing. I think a lot of women, I see this with my clients, with my friends, they're so afraid that they're going to get rejected. And I'm like, you get used to it after a while. It's like, okay, on to the next thing. Let's figure out what I can work with here and who's going to let me in and who's going to give me that one opportunity.
Absolutely. Every no you get, you're just getting closer to a yes. Like, expect the no's. It's like, okay, I got 3 no's, so that yes is like coming up real soon.
Soon. Exactly.
Well, that's pretty cool. That's cool. So your passion projects then, just kind of moving into that, and you've been featured in several national and international magazines. I know Glamour and Shape and a whole bunch of others, and even in Australia and some other countries. So you're just kind of all over the place. How did you know, or how did you know that, and were you afraid to kind of step out there and do that next thing, or did you kind of go into this whole thing with the champagne diet and sparkle and all that kind of fearlessly? Because a lot of women, they do have a full-time job, they do want to do something, but they really allow not knowing how to, or maybe they don't have the time, or maybe they have kids, or maybe they're in school, relationships, whatever, to kind of hinder them from really seeking out those passions. So what was it for you that let you kind of jump into this so fearlessly, or what appears to be fearlessly?
I think just knowing that I was so passionate about what the message that I wanted to share with people. Like, it started with a blog. I had no idea what I was doing. I wanted to write a book called The Champagne Diet, which is a book that just came out. That was the initial goal. I was like, I had this like life-altering experience, and I felt like I had this kind of whole, this message I wanted to tell people about it. So I started the blog, really not knowing what to expect. And as I began connecting with women who were reading and really, it was resonating with them, I felt like, okay, now I have to write this book. I have to, keep engaging with this community. And it just sort of grew from there. And I felt like there's no way I couldn't do it. I couldn't pursue it. Like, whatever else was going on in my life, it was going to have to take a back seat. Like, this was going to be my passion. And this is just, I felt like my purpose, like a calling. I know it sounds kind of cheesy, woo-woo, but like that really, I just felt like I had to just do this. So, it's tough. It's difficult. It's, I'm married. I've got a full-time job. I've got, I try to have a life outside of all this. So it's about priorities. It's waking up a little bit earlier in the morning. It's staying up late at night. It's giving up the dinners on a Saturday night and staying home and working on your book or whatever. But it was just kind of something that I just couldn't ignore.
Oh my gosh, that is so good. I think, there's you just gave several lessons there. You know, when you really want something and when that passion is burning, it doesn't go away. It continues.
Hmm.
It's like, okay, you could kind of put it off or stall it, but then it keeps knocking at you. It's like knocking on the door like, "Hello." That was for you,
Yeah.
and it's like whatever day you answer the call, you kind of start where you are. And I think for a lot of women, especially, that fear, I hope that you're hearing what Kara's saying is she started all of this with a blog, and with really no direction and not having all the solutions, the answers, a total roadmap to where she is today and where she's headed. But just that willingness to do it and that passion, just kind of jumping out there. So, ladies, you can really, really live those dreams out loud if you take that first step, past the fear and just kind of push past it. So, Kara, I think you're totally amazing. I love what you're doing. I'm like, I told someone the other day, I'm like, if we could burn bras, in 2013, like I'd be burning them, and I'm married, I have kids, and all that. But I'm just all about, women empowering ourselves because really, I believe that we are just the cornerstone of everything. Like we control so much with our economy and our families and all of that. I mean, and
I know.
besides,
I always say if women could just let go of all the BS, we could rule the world. Like we are amazing. Like just let go of all the jealousy and the crap and all the comparing and all the crap
mm,
talking and just we are so I'm all about it too. Like let's just keep inspiring each other because one day I feel like we will kind of lose that stigma of sort of being catty and jealous as long as we kind of keep on this path and just keep lifting each other up.
absolutely. I mean, hello, cattiness is so 1983. Get over it. What the heck?
Yeah.
So one thing I wanted to ask you about. So you talked about, and I read something that you said, kind of finding love in all the wrong places or bad relationships, and that's a huge part of, I think, a lot of things that, or a lot of reasons that women are hindered. I think it's because we sometimes do look for love in all the wrong places because we're not feeling our best internally. Can you just share with us your most maybe profound experience or maybe your wake up call when it came to that area of your life?
Yeah, I think, I dated guys in my 20s who, and I will never put anyone down that I dated. Like, I think that's a very important thing that I think women need to realize. Like, every relationship teaches you something. I don't hold anyone to blame. I'm not a man hater. Really, I'm just not. Like, I think it's just about finding someone who's on the same page as you. We all kind of want different things. We all have different personalities, and sometimes you can fall in love with someone who maybe doesn't have the same, values as you, or kind of want to go on that same path. So it's really about finding a partner and someone who's going to support you and someone who's going to rally for you. And in the past, the guys I dated just they didn't really get me. They didn't, I felt like I couldn't really fully be myself, or maybe I'd be judged a little bit if I kind of put myself out there, or I wanted to be creative. And it got to a point in one of my relationships where I was like, this is just not good. I'm constantly being, told what's wrong with me. I want to be with somebody who thinks everything about me is right, even the
Yeah.
flaws and the shortcomings, because we all have them. So I think it's, really finding somebody who is going to just kind of be in it for the long haul and support you and love you no matter what, and do not settle, because it's better to be alone than unhappy, as they say. Like it really is.
Absolutely. Yeah. I love that what you said. I think for a lot of people, it's really difficult to continue to stay in a situation, but also, I think familiarity, people just get familiar with what they're doing
Yeah.
and we just get used to it, so we just stay.
Yeah.
And it's so funny that we're even talking about this today because I was just sharing on Facebook, just being in unhealthy relationships, those unsupportive people in your life, and I'm going to go out and say all relationships, not just male female relationships, but just all of your relationships, whether it's friends, other
Yeah.
family members who are non-supportive of what you want to do, and like you said, Kara, those people in your life that are pointing out all the wrong things as opposed to highlighting what's awesome and the bomb about you.
Yeah.
So you really got to walk away from those situations, just because I think once you do and you find that strength, I mean, you're just so much happier. I
Oh, yeah.
remember telling someone, after a relationship I left several years ago, and she said something's different, and I said, girl, I lost 250 pounds. A
Yeah.
whole human. Just
Oh, exactly. That's a good one.
just a whole human just off my back, literally. Just it was awesome. So
And
yeah, totally relatable.
and I think it's about realizing like it's you both play a part in that relationship. So the way that they're acting towards you, if someone is negative and someone's putting you down and they're insecure, they've got their own crap to deal with, and that's on them. As long as you realize that it's not always about you, like you should definitely take responsibility for your role in a relationship. I fully believe that. But you also have to realize like it's not always about you. It's not always, you're not a horrible person. I think women kind of get in these situations where they start to feel like, well, this is the best I'm going to get, and he's right. Maybe I am too fat to find somebody, or maybe I am too crazy to be with someone else. This brainwashing and manipulation that I see happen so much with women, and it's like, that's on him. That is his problem or her problem or whoever.
Oh my gosh, that's a Cara quotable. Get on Twitter right now. At the Champagne Diet, it's not always about you, ladies. So don't internalize
Another
everything
problem.
that. Yes, don't internalize all that crap, because it'll have you feeling real bad about yourself when it had nothing to do with you in the first place.
Yep.
So Cara, let's just kind of shift on to some work stuff. Once you got through with the bad relationships, you're married now, your passion projects, which is Sparkle, there's so much, the Champagne Diet blog, the Champagne Diet book, which just came out. Can you share with us a little bit about the Champagne Diet? I mean, so are you telling me that champagne is a part of a diet, and I can have as much as I want?
No, unfortunately, it's not going to close. I wish. Well, it all started when I found myself in a place where I was just unhealthy, overweight, kind of miserable, looking for a new diet to go on. And a girlfriend of mine said to me, just stop eating shit. S-H-I-T. Can I say that word on here?
Yeah, shit.
Stop eating shit. It's like, oh, what a concept. And she taught me about how to eat for my body and eat for my health, and eat fresh fruits and vegetables, and just kind of lose the whole diet soda, diet frozen pizza thing that I was just on that train. That was what I thought I had to do, fat free, calorie free. And she taught me how to really eat well. And of course, I asked her, if I'm going to eat like this, can I still drink? Because no one's going to tell me, like, to be in, a size whatever, you can't have your cocktails because cocktails like most of us. And she said to me, of course, just drink champagne. And I'm like, how is that possible? Like, what? She's like, well, champagne is one of the lightest calorie drinks. There's about 90 calories in a glass, and there are all these great health benefits to it. And I said, okay, like, who's going to say no to that? Nah, I don't want a glass of champagne. So, I started drinking it, and that was kind of my drink of choice. Not every night, but, like on the weekends, or instead of a dessert at a restaurant, I'd get a glass of champagne. And I noticed that when I drank it, I just felt so amazing and so glamorous and so sexy and pretty, and just really good about myself. And I kind of started thinking about just champagne in general and how it's this amazing drink. And I think here, especially in the United States, we kind of save champagne, and it's like only for New Year's Eve, and we're only going to open that special bottle for somebody's birthday. And I kind of sort of started using it as a metaphor for life. Like, well, that's just, life is so short. We should be indulging in all these fabulous, wonderful things every day. So that's kind of where the concept of the champagne diet sort of came from. And I, always encourage women to live a champagne life, and that really means a life that's just has the best of the best in it. The best foods, the best relationships, the best environment.
Yeah.
So it really is just this bubbly, fun, effervescent, metaphor. And it's, I like it. I like to live a champagne life. I think, most people do. So.
When I love that. When I hear champagne diet, I just think this living bubbly. I just think bubbly, and it's just sweet in your mouth. It's juicy, delicious. I mean, I think all of those things. So I'm with you 100% on that. And I think that's pretty amazing, of you just to take and to really, first of all, listen to your friend, because our friends sometimes know what they're talking about. And really to put that into action and start not only helping yourself and with your own internal, but your your self image, but also then turning that into a, private coaching practice where you're actually helping women all over the world do the same thing. Can you tell us a little bit about your coaching?
Yeah, so, as I started the blog 5 years ago, and again, like not knowing what I was going to do with it. But as I kept connecting with women, I kept feeling like there's something more here. Like I felt like I was a really great sounding board for people, and I felt like I could, listen and help and, give advice and really coach people through whatever they were going through because I felt like I had been there and I kind of wanted to help someone else along their journey and inspire them. So, I always felt like there was just something like, how can I really make this, real? How could I just stop being like a blogger who gives advice over email or whatever?
Yeah.
And it was the weirdest thing. One day I was in the shower and I was like, I want to become a life coach. It's like, so I started researching coaching and really just, the industry and the practice and kind of, sort of researching what it was about. I knew I didn't want to be a therapist and I knew I didn't want to go back to school and do all that. But coaching to me really struck me as something that was just so powerful because it's really about taking someone, as you know, who is in a functional state and they're doing fine, they're okay, but they really want to start being the best that they can be. And they
Yeah.
really want a guide or a mentor to help them through that. Somebody who's not a friend or not a husband or a boyfriend, to really keep them accountable, to check in with them, to really be like, I kind of call it like a life assistant. You're kind of that little person on the side and you're sort of checking in and you're emailing them and calling them and how are you doing and really just being a cheerleader for them. So I started researching coaching schools and I found an amazing program and I went through it and I actually just finished my master coaching certification and I want to go back and do more because I just love it so much. And that's kind of how I launched my business. And I just started becoming close to my blog readers and my Facebook fans. And, we started connecting and I started doing workshops and taking on private clients and it's just really grown from there.
Wow, I love it. Cara, are you surprised that this is taken off with your brand that you've created? Are you shocked?
Well, I mean, I believe in what I do, so I'm not shocked that people get it because I really am, I love what I do and I do, but I'm shocked that my life has kind of taken me this way because I wanted to be, I had a whole different plan for myself. I wanted to be a music journalist and that was all I wanted to do and I felt like, I wanted to be on MTV News and that was really my path and life just sort of took me here, but it's been amazing. And I think that's something that we have to embrace as women, like as a person, really. Just life takes you places and you don't always plan on it. And that's what's so amazing about it. Like you said earlier, I didn't have a roadmap and it's great to have goals and be accountable, but there's also something to be said for sort of, going with the flow a little bit and embracing the changes and sort of where things kind of wind up.
Absolutely, and your growth. I mean, just as you continuously put yourself out there, things just start appearing because you're in the atmosphere. It's like the universe opens up and or something,
Yeah.
happens, all your blessings just start flowing and people start coming into your life because you've kind of stepped into a zone where all of these things exist that you don't even know were there.
Exactly. It's just about being in a positive space. I think that's the biggest thing. Like expecting the best and just being open to it, like you said, and being positive, not having that negative kind of, thought process all the time, not expecting things to not happen, expecting only the most amazing things to happen to you.
Absolutely. I love it. I love, love, love it. Like, where have you been? Like,
You too. I'm like, oh my God, I love her.
I love it. So, okay, so first of all, I think what you're doing is amazing. I think it's great for women to see that you can have a full-time career and you can also do something you're totally passionate about that happens to change lives and impact people in a positive way. I think that's really what I'm taking from your story. We have more than one thing. I used to get hung up on, people always say, oh, you need to pick that one thing. You need to pick one thing. I'm like, but I don't want to pick one thing. Like, I'm good at lots of things,
Yeah.
And, for you with your career at MTV, you're like this advertising and marketing, maven, but also, you found something that was very personal to you and you started a whole business, parallel to that. So for those of you out there who are watching, who have a career that you're happy with, but still there's, we're multi-layered, I think, as women. We're multi-dimensional, as most people are. And I think listening to your passions and answering that door when it knocks, I think it's absolutely worth it. And Cara here is really a great example of just that. Cara, we don't want to hold you too long because we know you've got all sorts of of a bubbly to pop and champagne and stuff going on. Oh, you have to share with us what's your favorite champagne.
That's a tough one. I love Moet and Chandon. I just love Moet, like just the classic brut. That really, I know it's a common designer champagne, but it's amazing. I love it. But I also love a lot of sparkling wines. There are a lot of amazing cavas out there. I think that's another thing to note. Like, it's not all about super expensive French champagne. You can have a champagne life on a budget, and many of us do, including myself. I don't drink crazy, Veuve Clicquot every night. So yeah, I'd say Moet for now is kind of my favorite.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that's cool. That's cool. Love
Yeah.
that. Can you share? I'm just making sure we didn't forget anything. There was so much. So where are you next? What's going on? Where can people find you? Give
Um,
us the lowdown.
Yeah, so what's coming up for the fall, I'm super excited. I'm revamping all of my coaching packages, and putting a huge focus on Passionista Publishing, which is my publishing company that I started to publish my own books through. So I have been working with a few authors this summer, other life coaches who are putting out their own books. So that's really going to be, I think, my fall focus, is just focusing on my author coaching, specifically for women entrepreneurs who want to self-publish and don't really know where to start. So that's at PassionistaPublishing.com. And I'm also going to be launching a few new lifestyle workshops. So that will be at thechampagnediet.com. You can find all that information. And my main site, I feel like I have 900 websites, livecreatesparkle.com is my hub. So if you want to just go to one place and find me, that's probably the best place to get all my goods.
All right, love it. Thank you so much, Cara. We appreciate you. You all check out the Champagne Diet. You can check out her books. They're on Amazon. You can also get her book Sparkle. I think they even have a bundle that you can grab them both and be reading them for next weekend. So thank you so much for joining us, and we will see you next time on Real Life Matters. Cara, we'll catch up with you later.
Thanks so much.